My grandmother, my mother's own aunt, was a meek, calm, strong woman who raised not only her 4 children, but also 4 orphans left by her neighbors. The men perished at the front, and the women died of illness. There was a typhus epidemic. Granny, all her relatives called Mother, bore her nickname deservedly. Her mother said that when she was little, Grandma sometimes gave her a piece of bread and clean water in a jug, and ordered her to take it and give it to the captured Germans who worked on the construction of houses. Then they returned home, later, but many of them died from disease and post-war hunger. And those who died were buried in a small cemetery away from the city, behind a common cemetery. It so happened that one day several boys, distraught with grief, whose fathers did not return from the war, decided to desecrate this cemetery. They could be understood. Together with them, the younger grandmother's brother, 12 years old, also tagged along. They dug up the graves, scattered and defiled the remains. In the evening, the whole street knew about their act. Having learned about the participation of her younger one, the grandmother ordered to take all the younger brothers, including the defiler, shovels and choppers, and follow her. They buried the dug graves, and returned the remains pulled out of the ground. Grandmother read a prayer for the dead over them and asked them not to take revenge and not harm the living. That same evening, the eldest of the little vandals involved in the desecration came down with a fever. Then the rest of the boys fell ill, including my grandmother's brother. They died one by one, all but him. He was severely ill, emaciated like a skeleton, but remained alive. I was very young when my grandfather once told this story. Grandmother, who was immediately present, began to teach us never to insult the dead. How much time has passed, my grandmother is no longer there. I myself am gray-haired, but I remember her words, as now.
Any bone has the right to rest. Do not anger the dead, otherwise you will anger God. See the bones, bury and read a prayer. Do not remember the prayer, just wish peace and rest to the dead.
But the words of my grandfather, my grandmother's brother, were even more strongly imprinted.
I closed my eyes, the dead Germans are standing. Their breath stank of the grave. Their eyes burned like fires. If not for my sister, they would have taken me too.